Hey, what's up? It's Mike from 40k Dirtbags, and welcome to episode 3 of the Dugout. Today, we are going to do a Lone Star Open Grand Tournament overview, and then we are going to slap chop an Ork for 2 reasons. 1, everyone's playing Orks right now, and 2, it was a special request from a old but new friend. All right, cool, and welcome back. So if you're new to the channel, thank you for hanging out, and check out our website, 40kdirtbagsllc.com. Here you can join the Dirtbag Nation, which is on our Patreon. I think there's like over 2,000 people on there. If you want to talk to us directly, you can join on Patreon. The link is on here as well. If you want coaching from one of the top 5 players in the world, Derek Apshay, you can hit him up on there. And if you're new to the game, you're probably going to get one of us, just because Derek's time is pretty limited, right? Cool. So other than that, we launched a book about 3 weeks ago. It's been freaking awesome. That was definitely a journey. You can find more information on that at tabletopgamingforlife.com. The book is about how Warhammer 40,000 kind of changed my life dramatically. My kids got me into it, and I found this whole new world, and it's freaking awesome. Big thing is the difference between instant gratification and delayed response or delayed success, delayed failure. And you can find it on Amazon. So go ahead and check that out. We'd really appreciate it. All right, cool. So LSO, let's do a quick intro of that.
What's up, Derek?
That's wrong.
Hey, what's up?
Here we go. Yeah, so that was in Dallas, Texas. There were over 300 players. It was freaking awesome. This is the most Dirtbags we've had. So if you're looking to join the team, hit us up on Patreon or Discord. And yeah, dude, it was Lone Star Open is my favorite grand tournament. It is military themed. So if you are a veteran, then basically you will sign up, for your branch, and then your service will compete against the other services. And Marine Corps won this year, which was freaking awesome. So I was very happy about that. Awesome players. It's just a different vibe. So if you like grand tournaments in general, I would definitely highly recommend LSO. And especially if you're a vet. We hung out with Phil from Mastercrafted. I got to play Glacier Geek. He is I was kind of a fanboy. He was one of the first channels that I started watching when I started getting into painting 40K. So it was really awesome when he walked to the table, and I was just like, dude, Glacier Geek. So that was really awesome. Then of course we got Phil from Mastercrafted. He came out, and yeah, it was a great time. So definitely check that out. All right, so from the hobby side, the funny thing about being a recon dude or something like that, the community is very small. So if you kind of throw yourself out there, you are going to get checked on. And so I got a message once we kind of like launched the new rebrand and everything. And I got a text being like, hey, why is this guy asking about you? And come to find out, him and his son got into Warhammer 40,000, found the Dirtbags, found me, and we just started talking. So I was talking to him yesterday, and he's playing Orks. So we got the Armageddon set, and he was saying how, painting is kind of like a barrier to entry, so to speak. And I think that's true to a certain extent. I was talking to a guy from work during the week, and he said the same thing. So I was like, you know what? I'll do a quick slap chop video, and yeah, just kind of go over how I would get a model tabletop ready as fast as possible. So we'll do Orks first, just because Rory, shout out to you, asked for it, and then I'll do Space Marines afterwards. But yeah, I mean, when I first met Derek, he did not paint. And then over the years, like as contrast paints got better, he got into it, and now he like loves doing it. And to me, that is, in my opinion, one of the more important aspects of the hobby, right? It's building, it's creating, and it feels good when you show up to the table and you're like, yo, I fucking painted all this shit and it looks badass and it's something to talk about. So yeah, let's do it. So I bought this Ork the other day. It was the cheapest one I could find at the game store. Couldn't find a used one, but I'll just give this to my 9-year-old. So we got I think this dude's a war boss. And I would prime it Chaos Black, right? And then, so for Slap Chop, what you're trying to do is you're trying to get, you're trying to have as much contrast on the model as possible. So for this, I'm going to use an off-white. Yeah, this is ivory white. It's kind of like an egg looking color. And then I've got this dead white as well. And we're going to dry brush that on, and I'll show you how I do that. And then we're just going to use Contrast Paints 2.0. Rory said he liked greens and blues, so we will focus on those colors. And funny side note, so after he looked me up, you know, years ago in another life, I worked for a veteran nonprofit called Recon Sniper Foundation, and I started a competitive pistol team, which turned into a whole bunch of teams, right? And anyway, my son's godfather, and I'm his daughter's godfather. He's my best friend. I love him. I hate him. He was my JTAC in Afghanistan. If you don't know what that is, he is the guy on the radio who's calling in like aircraft, like airstrikes and stuff. And his call sign was Chosen 86, and which we still joke about that to this day. But anyway, he's the president of the Recon Sniper Foundation, and he made a picture, like a kind of yearly post of, you know, like kind of 21 like rules to live, right? And in one of them, there was a picture of me and my family. And so I was talking to Rory, and I'm like looking through his Instagram because he was busy, which is whatever, and I was just driving. So I was just looking for his favorite colors, and then I was just going to do this for him last night, but I was sick, so I decided to go to bed. Anyway, I found the picture of me on his Instagram, which was really funny. So I was just like, I've been in your life forever. So anyway, let's do this, right? We'll go over to the palette. We'll set that up. If you're new, you can do a dry palette. Some nerd on here will tell me you can't use contrast paints and wet palettes, but you know what, dude? I don't even care. And this is my show. It's fine. And so anyway, let's get some of this white down. And so the big thing with dry brushing is going to be pressures and angles, right? So it's how hard am I pressing with the brush, right? And then also the angle that I'm stroking, right? So to me, those are the two big things about dry brushing, and I can show you guys here in a second. So I'll get all my stuff set up first. We got this nerd over here, and I got my paper towel. So first thing is, how do I load it, right? Oh, and this is my favorite dry brush. I have all the fancy ones, right? I actually prefer this for a lot of like a lot of big jobs, I guess. And so it's just a regular brush. Like this brand new will look like this, and then eventually it'll turn into this. But I still keep this guy around. He's my favorite dry brush. All right. So I'll just load up like just the tip, just a little bit like that, and then we will just dry it off on here. You can use a dry brush palette. I don't have time for that. And then I'll just test it on my hand, right? So when I talk about pressures, it's how hard am I pressing the brush onto the model, which will deliver the paint, right? So I'll start kind of light, and then I will add incremental pressure if I want more like color and contrast. Now for contrast paints, you want like a distinct, like, you know, from dark to light. So it's okay if you have large dark areas, and you want the tips to be like, you know, lighter, right? So when you put the contrast paint on, it's going to accentuate those lighter parts more than the darker parts, obviously, right? Oops, a little too much. Yeah, so the nice thing about GW models is they oversize certain aspects. And again, you're constantly like maneuvering the model around to catch certain angles. Like for an example, if I'm trying to just hit the edges of this, I'm not just going to like paint it straight on like that. I'm going to angle it like to the side. And if I'm going for this angle, then I'm going to brush forward, and I might move the angle back or move the model back this way to hit this backside here. And this was kind of another conversation we were having with another guy, right? So when we're talking about like rankings and stuff, like ITC on Best Coast pairings is a good gauge just for where somebody is, but honestly, like ITC also takes into account frequency, so it's not necessarily purely like performance. So where am I going this, right? We were looking at stats and scores and stuff, and there are 3 or 4 Ork players ahead of Derek for top Ork player in the world, and they all live in the UK. So why is this relevant, right? The UK, obviously, Warhammer started there, but they arguably have like the most grand tournaments in a generally kind of localized area. And I say that just in relation to the size of the UK versus the United States, right? So we were looking at like frequency of those top players, and Derek's like, dude, I don't think I can play enough GTs by the end of the year to get top Orks. So I mean, we'll see if he gets enough points. The bigger tournaments you go to, you get more points. And but if you go to StatCheck40k.com, that is, in my opinion, a more accurate kind of measure of like performance, right? It only takes into account grand tournaments, so not RTTs. And essentially, the way it works is it uses a similar grading criteria to ELO and chess. Which at the beginning of the season, everybody starts at 1,500. And then as you win, you gain points. As you lose points. And that's kind of a more accurate kind of like performance-driven gauge of how a player is. So why is this kind of relevant? 2 things. One, Derek's goal was to get top Orks. And then something that I realized at our first teams tournament was, which by the way was phenomenal. It is what everyone says about teams. It is the best way to play Warhammer 40,000, 100%. Way more fun than singles. You just felt more like involved with what's going on, right? Instead of just like you losing and your friends are just like, oh, that sucks, whatever. Like it matters, and every point like matters, even when you lose, right? So my role on the team was the grenade guy. So what does that mean? Basically, like I would be the guy to like take the loss, like to draw out the better players, so our better players could have like a more guaranteed time to get high points, right? So with that, right, it was learning how to lose minimally, which was different, right? So that was really cool. But something I started to notice was like, I would much rather play a person who has a better player, right? And again, you can use ITC and StatCheck just to get like an idea, just to gauge, right? But like the player definitely matters. Like for example, they wanted me to play into World Eaters, and we were playing Purge the Foe. I understand Purge the Foe. However, his army is faster than mine. So you could make the argument that it was an unfavorable matchup. But I had significantly more like play time and experience than this guy. So, I was able to get the win, right? So that was something that I thought was interesting. Day 2 was completely different for us. And I think that was just because Sasha, which again, Sasha, he's an Art of War guy, incredible player, very experienced. But this was our first time as a team playing a teams tournament. So it took, you know, about the first day to kind of figure out like how our team like kind of performs, like who does what, whose role is whatever. And day two was a completely different experience than day one. Day two, I felt like I got the matchups that I wanted. I got the missions that I wanted. It was just very, very different in comparison to the first day. Anyway, so I got my off-white kind of egg on. Now I'm doing like the hot white. And I'm really looking just to hit like the tips, right? Just the tips of the angles, but then also like the things that I want kind of brighter, which is going to be his face. It's going to be kind of like his bulging muscles, like his hands. Like when I look at like orcs, like those are the things that kind of stand out to me when I'm like looking at someone's army, or just like how it looks on the table. We'll just hit those areas, and he wanted blue. I think we're going to do this logo like a bluish, but I kind of want it to be like a brighter blue. So here's an example of, I'm going to make this a little bit hotter white. Let me get this out of the way. Like a hotter white to accentuate that blue a little bit more. You can do this process. So I do a version of this process for my Space Marines, except I use metallics versus, you know, whites. But it kind of all works the same. I'm going to make these like a leathery color, so we'll make that a little bit brighter. We'll keep this, we'll make that a little bit brighter. And I think this is almost ready to start adding the contrast. Maybe a little bit brighter. Anyway, I was supposed to stream last night, and I got home from work, and dude, I had like a fucking fever. I just felt like shit. So I was like, you know what? I think I'm just gonna go to bed early, wake up a little early, knock this out Saturday morning. I was supposed to head to the beach, hang out with the kids. So that'll be fun. All right, yeah. So kind of generally like this. Kind of hard to see. Let's zoom in a little bit. Yeah, so it already has like all the shadows and stuff in. Cool. All right. So another thing, if you're new to painting, to me, I think the easiest way to visualize a model is like think what is the deepest and biggest portion you know, of the model first, right? So for orcs, I would say the deepest portion on the model is going to be like back here, right? Like this, and then underneath the arm. So we want all this green. So that's why we're going to do our greens first. And then we're going to paint like towards us, if that makes sense, right? So I'll do my greens, and then I will repeat this process for the eyes, which all we're going to do is just, we're going to put a dot of white on the eyes and then throw some like yellow contrast in there. And yeah, it looks pretty dope, pretty fast. So I think I'm going to start with Shamrock Green. It is this. And we're just going to see how that looks. If it's too bright, we'll just add another coat. But the thing for contrast, you can do some cool things that you can't do with regular paints. So one thing for this, right? You do want to load this brush up pretty heavily, right? So what does that mean? About halfway up the brush here, almost to where it's like kind of dripping a little bit. You can see it's really, I would call this like really loaded, right? And I'm going to start with the deeper parts and then go outboard. or I guess towards myself. This is already looking pretty cool. You can kind of just push the paint around. Yeah, looks pretty good. Anyway, what are you guys up to? Well, seeing how none of y'all want to say nothing, 11th edition has been friggin' awesome. This was my first tournament in 11th, and I loved it. Every mission wasn't different. I definitely started seeing some trends, but I played a different army every single time, which is great. So I had Tyranids round 1. Close loss. I'm gonna do like a further in-depth one. I took enough pictures. So I had Tyranids, and then I went into Tau. I was actually really nervous about Tau, but I was able to leverage the scoring. And so what does that mean? So something I realized is like the scoring differentials and breakpoints in 11th are different than 10th. So like you really can kind of, as long as you have a plan, that's the caveat, but you can kind of hold back if you need to early game, and then get some big like scores late game. So I was going into Tau. He's playing Monka, so he's got the advance and shoot like for his whole freaking army. So he outranges me, he outguns me, and he's more maneuverable than me. So I played the first 3 turns pretty cagey. I was just letting him score his points, and I was just making sure I wasn't losing too many assets. And then turn 3 is when I went full send, and I was like, well, I either break his back here or I lose, right? And I was able to break the center and then break one of the flanks. I think I killed a Storm Surge, a dang, what are those guys called? Broadsides? No, Riptide. Yep, killed a Storm Surge, killed a Riptide, all in one turn, knocked out a bunch of his chaff, and then from there is just kind of like he just wasn't able to recover. So that was good. And then I went into AdMech, pain in the ass, always is. And then day 2, so day 1, I ended 1 win, 2 losses. I lost into NIDS and I lost into AdMech. The AdMech game was really, really intense. Interestingly, my opponent was doing what I did in the previous round. So he was kind of slow playing me a little bit. And then I was like, all right, I have to break his back right now. And I failed a 7-inch re-rolling charge. I'm going to do that charge 100 out of 100 times, so not a bad play. I got a 6 on the advance for my advance and charging 10-man Terminators, and I rolled that 6, and my opponent goes, I did not want to see that right now. And that was funny. But yeah, failed that charge, and then I wasn't able to out OC him, and then he got a near win out of that game. And then day 2, I went into Dark Angels, Space Wolves, Glacier Geek, and then ended the tournament with Chaos Knights. So I went 3 wins, 1 loss, or sorry, 2 losses, 1 tie, and it was freaking awesome. It was nice to play a different army every single round. I know that wasn't the same for everyone. Someone was saying they played Orks like 3 times. That sounds awful, but just kind of is what it is sometimes. All right, cool. So we got our greens. I think now we're going to do our blues. I think I'm going to do his pants blue. Blue pants. We'll kind of keep this like inner thing dark. And then, like I said, we'll make this like a nice blue, so have this match the pants. And then we'll add some reds, and then we'll do our metallics. I'll show you guys how I base as well. So if you watch some of my other streams, you can see the fancy way I base for this one. Boom, we just got this. We get some PVA glue, we get some of this. Dude, you can base so fast. All right, let's do our blues. So for this one, I think I'm going to use Beowulf blue. Use this one. This might be a little too dark. I think we'll see. Gotta make sure you shake these things up pretty good. So let's see how this blue looks. I was trying to explain contrast painting to my buddy at work, and I was like, it's kind of like markers. Like, you got to think of it like markers for adults. Just stay in the lines. Kind of like a dark jeans blue. I did sub-assembly the squig hog whatever guy. So we'll do him separately. I wanted to show you how you can kind of mix colors, which is pretty cool. So we will do that on that dude. Actually, I should have dry brushed him, but oh well. All right, so that looks good. Let's get our blues on here. Let's do maybe we'll do just the horns blue, maybe. Yeah, we can do the fist something else. Yeah, that looks pretty good. All right, let's get some browns. Yeah. So for this, I'm just going to use Desolate Brown. I haven't used some of these paints in a while. Kind of wondering how this Desolate Brown's gonna dry. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes contrast paints don't dry the way you'd think. All right, so we are gonna do like this inner part. We're gonna do that brown. I think I want to do a lighter brown for his belt. Have that kind of different color. I think I'll do the belt the same color as I'm going to do the holsters. Oops, forgot his butt over there. All right. Cool. So we got our blues, browns. I think we probably start our metallics right now. Something I am going to do. You don't have to do this. I'm just a little OCD. I'm going to just going to cover up some of the parts that I, back to white that I want to paint different colors. So different colors. So we'll do his nails. We'll do these teeth. I'll show you guys how I do the eyes. Might as well do that because we're here. I'm not going to highlight after this, which of course you could, right? You could get lighter greens and then just go over the edges, but this is just for tabletop ready, getting it done reasonably quickly. All right, let's get some metallics. I think we'll make should I change this color? Yeah, fuck it, we'll do that. So we'll get a slaughter red. Oh, fuck. Gosh darn. Dude, all these bottles suck. Look at this. Look at that. The whole freaking thing came off. Oh, well. I've been on a Blade Runner kick recently. I forgot how good those movies are. So I watched the first one last week, and then last night when I felt sick, didn't feel like streaming or really doing anything, I finished 2049. I heard they're making a TV show, so we'll see. Hopefully they don't fuck that up. But man, Blade Runner's so good. All right, let's get some metallics. So I got my gold, and I got my, this is Hoplite Gold, and I think it's Broadsword Silver. Oh, the chat is working. Sorry, contrast paint on a wet palette. Model is totally ruined. Sorry, I didn't see this. No, I am in Jersey, Philly area. Dry brush for a long time before I learned the paper. Wait, much love, but paper towel makes dry brush chalky. A little bit. How many boys? I'm just painting this guy. Yep, I see it. I had a great run. Death Guard. Yes, nice job, dude. You weren't seeing the chat. Sorry. All right. We're it's working. So to address that real quick, it will depend on, it's kind of by feel, right? So let's zoom in on this guy. So I wouldn't say this is, why is that filter doing that? Hold on. Top filter. Sometimes with the greens, sharp, no, color key. Let's go. Yeah, there we go. Oh, this is part of his chin. Okay. Let me make it clear. Yeah, so thanks for bringing that up. So for me personally, this wasn't chalky. Now, if it does get chalky, right, and you can kind of feel that and test that on your thumb. So what you do to avoid that, or when that happens, is you can buy the fancy ones. It'll be like a little thing you like dip your dry brush in, right? So you would get this, you put the paint on, and then you would just dab it. That's why I like using a wet palette. You would just dab it in the like wet sponge and then test it, and it'll come out smoother. So I will do that if it starts getting like, and you will notice when it gets chalky. Like you'll finish it and be like, oh shit, it's fucking chalky. Not terrible to fix. I'm getting into Warhammer and bought the Armageddon to play Orks. I visited the store today to buy primer. The guy said to prime with black and white. Another guy spread Wraithbone. Yeah, so, yes. So there's a ton of different ways. You can... Wraithbone's my favorite. So actually, all my sprays are over there. So you can go black and then just kind of like... You can do most of this just spraying it. I was just kind of showing you how by doing it like by hand, then you can control it a little bit more unless you have an airbrush. So that's why I chose to show this way. But yes, you can absolutely just paint it black or spray paint it black and then spray paint it white. I'm just gonna say you will figure out the nuance to that. They call it zenithal, and it is easier like with an airbrush. All right, for the leather, yeah. So we got these grenades, this leather. I think I'm just gonna do these the same color. Yeah, I'm gonna use snakebite leather. Dude, this is one of my favorite contrasts. I use this for my gold trim for Chaos Space Marines. Comes out freaking awesome. Yeah, look at that. That looks so good. Another thing to keep in mind using contrast is you are pushing the paint into the recesses. Man, that looks so good. Could I combine methods? Yeah, for sure. And I mean, look, to me, the biggest thing for all of this is you're going to figure out how you like to do shit. It's going to be everything from your palette to your brushes to which paints to which thinners. Just the more you do it, you're just going to figure things out. I've been doing this for about 5 years. When I first started, I would make like little painting goals. So it would be like, all right, today I am going to learn how to glaze. So I would watch and find a bunch of videos on YouTube about glazing and then just like learn how to do that. And then I'd be like, all right, what are the other techniques? Oh, feathering, that looks cool. So I would do that. And then, just pick a goal. Just pick a new goal. The best part about the hobby side for me is that I found that things make the parts I hate. Oh, 100%. Gold trim. I use paint marker, gold Sharpie. Yeah, dude, do what you got to do. Can't tell if it washes the finishing. Yeah, for sure, man. Dude, it's your hobby. Like, I like how there's fucking nerds who are like slap chop and they're all like talking down on it. And it's like, dude, if guys are painting and they're enjoying what they're doing, then great. No one's gonna win Golden Demon by slap chop. So the thing I'm working on right now, it's called the volumetric shading. I actually bought a book. There's a guy, Frank. He's like my painting dad. He lives up in Scranton, Pennsylvania. He is the TO for the Fight Before Christmas Grand Tournament. If you're in the Philly, New York, Pennsylvania area, we go there every Christmas. It's freaking awesome. But Frank, first time I met Frank, he was like, "Hey, did you ever get a book about painting?" And I was like, "Nope." And and then we're talking about painting, and yeah, he definitely inspired me to research even more. Is that belt? I guess we'll do this part too. And then I think I'm just going to do the rest of it silvers. I guess we'll do this. Buttstock of the pistol. And it's fun to, sorry, it's fun too with kids. When Jace first got me into this, contrasts weren't really out, but with my 9-year-old, dude, he can do some pretty cool stuff. So I think it's great for getting your kids into it. All right, let's get some silvers and golds. We're almost done this guy. If you use Gravelord Gray over the metal. Yeah, okay. We'll try that. We'll try it right now, man. This one? Yeah. Let me get some of the other metallics. We'll do the claw that method. Kind of do this whole thing together. do this one gold. I don't like that on his butt. That's what happens when you don't push into the recesses. So we'll just fix that. All right. Hope these questions aren't too new. Nope. If I go to the priming black and Wraithbone slap chop, can I use game color washes to get the effects you're doing now, or do they have to be contrast paints? Look, worst case scenario, just test it. But so like any sort of speed paint, so I've got a couple different brands, and again, you'll figure out what brand you like, and then you'll also figure out which colors of brands you like too. So like this is the Citadel contrast. This is Speed Paint 2.0 by Army Painter. Who else do I have? I think I have some. So this is Vallejo Express. This is just regular. But doing this method, it's got to be like a more translucent like paint, or not. I don't want to say a wash. It is kind of like a wash. Contrast paints just have a little bit more pigment than washes. Also, most like speed paint packs come with speed paint medium. You can use this to thin down the paints just to make it more translucent. Like if you want just like a little bit of the color, not like, you know, super dark from the bottle. So I'm not sure if you could try game. If the game color wash is translucent enough, yeah, it'll generally look like this. They all kind of work the same. All right, so we got this Grave Lord Gray. Grave Lord Gray does look pretty good. Yeah, and that's like the biggest thing I can recommend right now. Like, is just testing. So for my Space Marine army, I did take the time to test and come up with my painting recipe, because the problem was halfway through my Black Legion experience, I found a better way that I liked to paint. And then, you know, because, you know, I mean, you want your army to look, you know, all cohesive and stuff. And so I went back and had to paint everything. to like my new method. And with this new army, I was like, I'm not doing that. So I spent the time to test and figure out like, all right, this is exactly the scheme and method that I'm going to use. And even with that, like I changed it slightly, but it's not as bad as it was before. So when in doubt, just prime some parts. You don't even need to build a model. Just prime some parts and see what the paint does. I think we're gonna do all this, that Grave Lord as well. You could probably do. We'll do the bullets. Yeah, I am liking this Grave Lord. Looks pretty good. Washes orange speed paints. They're more like thin paints, glazes. Yeah. Again, I mean, I would just test everything, man. You just got to see how it works. Yep. Yeah. To thin them down for sure. All right, let's get some yellows for the teeth. I'll show you how to do the eyes real quick. So for this, I'd grab just a medium thinner. Put that over to the side, just like one. Shit, this is a little dry. I haven't painted in a couple weeks. Yep. Yeah, so for this, I'm gonna grab some of that paint, and you kind of just make it to about this consistency. Test it on my thumb. About that. And so what we're going to do now, I'm going to take this white, then we're just going to dot the eyes. And it's okay if it kind of floods it. You're actually trying to flood it. Like the whole recess. I do like helmet lenses like this. Cool. We'll let that dry. If you guys want me to show like other colors, just let me know before I get to them. I actually forgot to do this, and I wanted to show you guys real quick. So I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna do it right now. Real quick, hazard stripes, just because it's cool. So we're gonna make this tube like the black and yellow stripes. So we're gonna go back over this with white. I forgot to do this beforehand. Shit, some of that's not dry. So we'll come back to that. All right, let's do the rockets. What color should we do the rockets? Orange? Really am enjoying your book. Oh, awesome. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. I've gotten enough positive critiques to absorb the negative ones that I'm sure are on the way, which you're always going to get that, but it was I'll be transparent right now. I was definitely hesitant when I like hit upload, you know. The whole thing was just like a learning experience. And I also thought it was really cool like to do the whole thing DIY. And I don't know, what a time where you can, you know, get a book published all on your own. And there's a couple guys in the Discord who are like, they're asking me how I did it. And you know, the one guy said he has like 80,000 pages of like a novel he's been working on, and I hope he finishes it, because that'd be cool. All right, let's get some yellow. And I'm really trying to not do like a ton of the sexy shit. This is just for, we are doing this, you know, pretty quick, generally, you know, new painter. So we're really just like, I'm not really highlighting anything. We're just coloring in all the spots, getting it based and ready to play. That's definitely one of the biggest pieces of advice I give to newer players. Like, just get it tabletop ready as fast as possible. Don't worry about everything, you know, needs to be, you know, freaking perfect. Just get them on the table and get playing. Oh, nice. Awesome, James. Yeah, I mean, Palladium, it's gonna be a Shark Tank, dude. The whole the Northeast is a difficult meta in just about any sport. I mean, wrestling, competitive shooting, 40K, lacrosse. Like, the Northeast is just fucking everyone takes everything seriously up here. um Nails. All right, so the hazard stripe. So let me get these teethuses real quick. And honestly, even at this point, I'm being a little bougie right now. I would have based this guy a while ago. 3 colors, based. Yeah. Actually, while we're waiting for that, let's do the squig hog real quick. Yeah, so what the other guy was talking about, to avoid it getting chalky, once I dry this off, you just dab it in a wet sponge a little bit. It basically just keeps the bristles hydrated. And it definitely coats differently. A little more than I wanted, but it's okay. We can fix that. Cool, so we got that. I'm just gonna get some hot white. I actually don't like how this guy came out. So what I'm going to do is actually going to use a real dry brush because I think there's too much egg white on the other one. So we'll see if we can kind of polish this up a little bit. All right. So for this guy, what I was talking about is you can kind of blend colors on the model. So what I was thinking about doing is like a darker red, and then it kind of gets lighter up top. Or should we go dark and then light on the bottom? Maybe we'll go light on the bottom. We're going to go light on the bottom. That means I need to lighten up the bottom a little bit more. All right. So we are going to go. Where's the orange? Yeah, the orange is right here. And then I've got my red over here. So we'll do the blend like on the model. So we'll start lighter. And then while it's still wet, get your darker color. We're going to go back and clean up the eyes. But now for this in-between piece, I'm just going to grab some yellow. Kind of just push the paint around. Yeah, that looks pretty cool. All right, while we're waiting for that to dry, let's do the hazard stripe. So for this, just grab a black, like regular paint. Where the heck's my black? So I do this for all my hazard stripes, even if I'm doing like Iron Warriors or just hazard stripes on like chainsaw swords or whatever. I'll paint it white first, and then you do the black lines. I don't like that. And then once we get our black lines on, you just throw yellow contrast on and a little bit of cleanup. Dude, looks freaking cool. I might do my little tick marks first and then go in and make them thicker. And I try to make them about as thick as a, what is this, a number 2 brush. I like doing it this way because it's generally easy to fix if you make a mistake. So I don't need to be like crazy precise. I'm just gonna go back with white and fix it. All right. Watch this. This is so cool. We just grab our yellow. And it's fine if you leave like a little pool in the center, the yellow, and then it makes it like a little bit like orangier. Yeah, it's pretty good, right? Do that shit pretty quick. So his eyes are don't really look the way that. So I'm just gonna put a little bit more white in there. Hey, what's up, Big Ron? 3 a.m. I'm out. Thanks. Later, Loki dog. All right, let's go back to this guy. Not dry yet. Uh-oh. Really pooling here, so. Painting orcs. They are cool. Although I am not an orc player, but enough people asked, so. Plus, this will be something cool I can give to my son, so that's all good. Talking to Derek when we were flying home, I wonder how they're going to, like, what they're going to do for orcs right now. I mean, or they are, it is pretty oppressive. Maybe they'll change. Like, I hope they don't just, you know, nuke it, because that's never cool when that happens. Like when they nuke detachments. I heard Legions of Excess was doing pretty good, which haven't seen Legion of Excess, that Demons list. Man, I think it's been over a year. Like, they did well for, man, it felt like a month, and then they just got nuked. So it's never really cool when that happens. All right, let's so we're gonna get yellow. Yep. That. I think I'm gonna go a lighter blue for the hand. Yeah, so this is what the that speed paint reducer does, so you can kind of visually see it. All right. They should increase points across the board. That'd be a start. Yeah. Derek was also saying limit the amount of units that can scout. I don't know. But yeah, it's they're rough right now. I think I'm just gonna do a dark green. We'll just finish up this guy's teeth. Quick base, and then I'm gonna go to the beach. I think I'll use like a lighter pink. Where is it? Where you go? Dude, this stuff right here, Pink Familiar, it's probably one of my all-time favorite colors. Dang. Don't like that green. I think I'm just gonna go dark brown. So you're tough enough to do this, say Space Marines. You also have the after GT crud cough. Yeah. All right. Yep. So we are just going to. I'm going to hair dry this guy real quick. I said we weren't going to do this, but we're going to do it. We're going to get some... Hey, what's up? First time here. Hey, welcome. Love watching miniature masters and anyone that paints minis live. Well, I'm not a master, but thanks for hanging out. The goal is just slap chopping orcs. Buddy of mine asked how I would do it, so I just got this character real quick. And I said we weren't going to do it, but we're going to do it. So I'm going to quick get some dry brush highlights on this squig guy. We'll just get some light reds on there, and then we'll call it a day. We'll put them on the base. I'll show you the fastest way to base. My palette looks like shit. Didn't help that that red spilled all over the place, but I got a couple of these. These are the Duncan Rhodes paints. They're not bad. The bottles suck. I think all bottles suck. All right, so let's just get some like a brightish red. All right, so this is what the guy was talking about. So we got our dry brush, then I get the tip wet, test it on my hand. Pretty good. Yeah, that looks pretty cool. Me, the Jersey, Philadelphia area. You can tell by the Wawa shirt. All right, let's knock out. Let's fix this dude's teeth and call it a day. Where are you from, Ordeal? Printing my own minis. Nice. Texas. Nice, dude. Love Texas. We were just in Dallas last weekend. Laredo. Oh, there we go. My best friend is leaving Laredo after 7 years. He got stationed there. Okay. What branch? A branch of the Department of Justice. Where is this? All right, let's glue this bad boy on. Oh, that was just super glue. All right, so we're waiting for these eyes to dry. We can do this part now. This part's pretty fun. So this is the fastest way to base. If you hate basing, this is the way to do it. So you got a biggest sand. You can get this at Hobby Lobby. Try to buy two different types. So like a thicker, or sorry, a bigger granule and then a thinner one. Just get some PVA glue. Get a shitty paintbrush. And you're just going to paint the glue on. This is a lot faster than, you know, using the texture paints. This is, again, like I said, the whole point of this video is just doing it as fast as possible. I deviated a little bit, but 3 colors based, varnish, and then do the details over time. I can't decide if I'm going to go salamanders for Nova. So basically my entire Space Marine army is going to be like just the 3 colors and based. Yep, you can do that. I just wanted to show without the texture paints. So we put this in there and then just shake it around. Shake this off. The nice thing about PVA glue is it dries clear. And cool. While we're waiting for that, let's just finish out this Squig Hog's eyes. Yeah, and I think he's done. I guess paint the rim. Yeah, the rim's fine. But yeah, from here, I mean, guy's pretty good to go. Anyway, from here, I would just varnish. My current favorite varnish is this stuff. Protects the models. And then when you go to paint them later on, you know, it's fine if you paint over it. But yeah, so basically all contrast. We paint the deeper part first, and then like move, you know, paint outboard. We went over like the quick technique for the hazard stripe, and yeah, I mean, you could take any lighter color after this and just lightly dry brush it, and it's just gonna pop. It's just gonna make the model pop more. So this version, I primed Chaos Black, and then I dry brushed like an egg white, and then I dry brushed like a hot white on top of that. You want kind of the contrast. It's called Zenithal Highlights. And then just use any you know, translucent kind of, you know, contrast, whether it's speed paint or Citadel. If you're new, you're going to figure out what you like. There's certain, like for an example, I prefer this yellow. I prefer this one to the Speed Paint 2.0. But this pink familiar is by far my favorite, like pink. I like Shamrock Green a lot as well. And then I like this a lot too. So as you go through your painting journey, you're going to figure out what you like, what you don't like. And that's everything from brushes to tools to, but I buy certain paper towels now. But anyway, yeah, appreciate you guys hanging out. Next episode, we are going to start deep diving LSO, and then we are getting ready for our next GT, which is Nova. And I think that's in like 3 weeks. So I need to figure out, am I taking Shadowmark Talon and Vengeful Host, or Salamanders and Librarius? So we'll see. Anyway, have a good Saturday, and I'll catch you guys next time.